Yo, what's up, everybody? It's your boy, your girl, your femboy, Young Green Studios, and we are here to watch Snapchat Horror Stories 2 Stories. It is 18 minutes and 10 seconds long. Big shout out to IMR, Scary Tales. Full credit goes to them. Without further ado, let's get into this.
The day I found that old smartphone tucked in the crevice of a bench in the park marked the beginning of a nightmare I never anticipated. It was an older model, but in surprisingly good condition. I figured it had been lost or misplaced. No one was around to claim it, so I took it home, thinking I'd done a good deed by rescuing it from potential damage. The lies we tell ourselves, to be honest. That night, after charging the device, curiosity got the better of me. I powered it on, intending to find a contact or a clue to its owner. Instead, I found it factory reset, clean of any personal data. Odd, but not alarming. It was the Snapchat app that caught my attention. The app was there, among the standard set of utilities, almost beckoning. I created a throwaway account, aimlessly scrolling through filters and lenses, until one particular filter stopped me dead in my tracks. It didn't add funny ears or distort my face comically. Instead, it revealed a figure standing behind me, transparent but undeniably human-shaped. I whipped around, heart racing, but found nothing. I laughed it off, convincing myself it was a trick of the light or a clever prank embedded in the app. The laughter died in my throat when the figure appeared again the next day. Closer this time, its features more defined, an expression of sorrow etched into the face that hovered over my shoulder. No matter where I went, turning in circles, it remained, always just behind me, visible only through the phone's camera. I gotta stop smoking so much weed, I muttered to myself, but the seed of fear had already been planted. I tried to delete the app, but it wouldn't budge. Each attempt was met with an error, the digital equivalent of a stubborn refusal. That night, the whispers started, faint at first, like a radio tuned to a station of static and murmurs. I couldn't make out the words, but their presence was enough to keep me awake, staring at the ceiling, jumping at shadows. By the third day, the phenomena escalated. The figure began to appear outside the confines of the Snapchat filter, glimpsed in the reflection of windows and mirrors, always a blur of motion in the corner of my eye. I heard my name, whispered with a sigh, the voice feminine and filled with an ache that resonated in my bones. "You can't be real," I said aloud, desperation coloring my tone. The response was a cool breeze, swirling around me in a room with closed windows. The breaking point came when messages began to appear on the phone, not through any app, but directly on the screen.
"Help me."
The first one read, simple and chilling. Then,
"He's coming for you, too."
I sought out help, showing the phone and its unexplained phenomena to a friend Alex who specialized in tech. "Xavier, this doesn't make sense," Alex said, scrolling through the device with a frown. "There's nothing here, just the standard OS and apps. This Snapchat thing, it's just an app. It can't do what you're saying." "But I saw it, Alex. It's happening." I insisted, frustration mounting as the figure appeared once again on the screen, its sorrowful eyes locking with mine. Alex looked at me, concern etched in his features. "Okay, let's assume for a second this is real. What do you want to do about it?" I didn't have an answer. All I knew was that I was caught in a web of digital and spectral horror, the origins of which were as mysterious as the phone itself. Little did I know, the worst was yet to come. The following days blurred into a relentless stream of terror. The apparition, now a constant presence in my life, began to manifest with increasing aggression. Objects around my house moved on their own, books tumbling from shelves, doors slamming shut, lights flickering on and off in Morse code of madness. The phone, my conduit to this nightmare, became my jailer. Its screen flashing with messages at all hours, each more desperate than the last. At night, just as I started descending into sleep, I started feeling like someone was holding on to my legs. Yet when I would wake up with a jolt, there would be nothing. One evening, as I tried to capture evidence of this haunting on video, the air turned icy, breath visible in the warmth of my living room. The figure materialized in the camera, closer than ever before, its face twisted in a silent scream. Then, without warning, the phone flew from my hands, smashing against the wall with force that seemed beyond human capability. I stood frozen, watching as cracks spidered across the screen, yet it remained lit, the figure's eyes boring into mine. "Leave me alone!" I shouted into the emptiness, my voice a mix of anger and fear. No response came, only the sound of my own ragged breathing. Sleep became an elusive dream, each night a battle against shadows. I confided in Alex again, his skepticism waning in the face of my deteriorating state. "Okay, let's tackle this head on," Alex said, determination replacing doubt. "We document everything. If it's a ghost, there has to be a reason it's attached to that phone, and to you." Armed with cameras and a myriad of electronic devices, Alex set up a makeshift command center in my home. We waited, the atmosphere charged with anticipation and dread. The night grew deep, and just when I thought the entity might withhold its torment, the temperature plummeted. The cameras captured orbs of light darting across the room, and the phone, despite its shattered screen, lit up with a new message.
Behind you.
We turned, slowly, to face the empty space behind us, only to watch in horror as a dark figure materialized, its details clearer now in the dim light. A woman, her expression one of profound sorrow and fear, her mouth moving in silent pleas. "I didn't believe," Alex whispered, his voice tinged with awe and terror. The figure pointed to the phone, then to the door, a clear message. She wanted us to follow. We did, driven by a mix of fear and an overwhelming need to understand. The path led us through the park and off labyrinthian streets to an old, decrepit building, its history etched into the crumbling facade. Inside, the air was thick, with the weight of untold stories. The figure led us to a hidden room, its walls covered in old newspaper clippings about a woman who vanished without a trace years ago. A news article mentioned that her friend had received snaps from her moments before she lost contact, and in the clip was her smartphone, its model matching the one I'd found, only broken, like it had been in a terrible accident. The realization hit me like a physical blow. The phone was hers. Snapchat was probably the last thing she was using, and somehow her spirit was still stuck with that. Someone must have used the phone, and when they realized that it was haunted, they probably left it in the park. As dawn broke, the apparition faded, her message delivered, but the haunting didn't end with her departure. The phone, now a relic of a tragic tale, continued to flicker with life, a reminder of the thin veil between our world and the next. In the end, Alex and I were left with more questions than answers. What happened to her? Could we ever find the truth? The digital haunting ceased, but the shadows remained, a chilling testament to the mystery that had briefly entwined our lives with the spectral. Who was collecting all that info on her? And would we ever see her again? A week later, I dropped off the phone at the site, only to find her same friend there, who was still on a quest to find her and collecting all information. I left the phone with her. I started my Snapchat as a way to share the behind the scenes of my life as a model. It was fun, engaging, and it connected me with my fans on a personal level. That's how I met Alex, one of my many followers. At first, his messages were like any others. Compliments on my posts, questions about my work, casual chit-chat. I enjoyed interacting with my audience, so I didn't think twice about responding. Also, it helped that he was cute. But then Alex's behavior began to change. It started subtly, with him sending snaps wearing makeup and hairstyles eerily similar to mine. "Twinning with Liz," he'd capture them. I chuckled it off initially, flattered by the imitation. Yet, as his messages grew more frequent, so did my unease. One evening, I posted a snap from a late-night photo shoot. The next morning, Alex sent me a photo of himself, posed and lit in the same way, but in his version, he wore a mask that was almost a perfect replica of my face. "Isn't it just like looking in a mirror?" he wrote. I replied, trying to keep the tone light.
Wow, that's pretty detailed. Where'd you get that?
His response sent chills down my spine. "Made it myself, so we can always be close, Liz." That's when the alarm bells started ringing. I decided to lessen our interactions, hoping he'd take the hint. But Alex didn't like that, not one bit. His snaps became more frequent, more insistent. He sent me strange and creepy messages, sometimes his own pictures, which carried a distinct look which just made me uneasy. I couldn't point to what, but something about him just seemed off, something which would send alarm bells ringing. Then came the night that transformed my unease into terror. I received a snap from Alex, time-stamped in the early hours of the morning. It was a photo taken from outside my apartment, the angle suggesting it was snapped from a car parked across the street. "Can't sleep when I know you're just across the..."
Want to earn gift cards from playing new games on your phone?
"Hey," the caption read. I immediately blocked him, my heart pounding in my chest. But it didn't stop there. The next day, I found a package at my door. Inside was a mask, another copy, but this time of his own face, with a note, "Wear this and we'll be together forever." I reported him to the police, but without direct threats, they said that their hands were tied. I felt utterly alone, watched and hunted. My Snapchat, once a source of joy, had become a channel for terror. One night, as I tried to distract myself with a movie, my phone pinged with an email notification. It was from a new account, but I recognized the writing style immediately. It was Alex. "You can block me, but we're meant to be together, Liz. Why don't you get it, silly? I love you. Actually, I worship you. We'll be together soon, my baby. I'll make sure of it." That's where the real nightmare began. The days that followed were a blur of paranoia and dread. After receiving that harrowing mail, I felt Alex's presence looming over me like a shadow, his madness infiltrating every corner of my life. My apartment, once a sanctuary, now felt like a glass cage, every creak and whisper of the wind a potential harbinger of my undoing. I doubled down on security, installing additional locks and surveillance cameras. Yet the thought of Alex out there, watching, waiting, twisted my insides with fear. The police patrols provided little comfort. Alex was a specter, slipping through the night undetected. If I'd be out at a cafe for work or meeting, I would randomly find him sitting in a far corner. He didn't approach me, but he kept looking at me. One night, I was out partying with a guy friend at a club. We were dancing, a bit too close for comfort. But that is when he leapt from the shadows and started punching my friend. Bouncers were called to keep him away. He again didn't say anything to me, just kept looking while the bouncers pushed him out. Lately, the thought of even going out to buy groceries felt unnerving. Then came the night that pushed me to my breaking point. The air was thick with the threat of a storm. the kind of oppressive atmosphere that feels charged with electricity, mirroring the chaos churning within me. I was attempting to salvage some semblance of normalcy, sorting through emails when a notification flashed across my phone screen. A new snap from a username I didn't recognize. Curiosity overcame my apprehension, and I opened it. It was a photo of my building's front entrance, taken from across the street. The caption sent a shiver down my spine. "A storm's coming, Liz. Let's weather it together." Panic seized me, a visceral, all-consuming tide that threatened to drag me under. I rushed to the balcony, my eyes scouring the darkness for any sign of him. That's when I heard it, the faint sound of someone trying to scale the side of the building towards my balcony. Adrenaline coursed through me as I watched, horrified. Alex's silhouette emerged over the railing. He was wearing the grotesque mask on my face, a twisted grin plastered across its surface. "Liz," he called out, his voice muffled but unmistakably gleeful. "Enough is enough, baby. You can't hide from me. Tonight, we get together." My mind raced, terror and fury warring for dominance.
Stay back, Alex.
I shouted, my voice steadier than I felt.
I'm calling the police.
But he just laughed, a sound that curdled my blood. "We're beyond the police now, Liz. It's just you and me in our little world. No one can come in between us, babe. I'll make sure of that." With no time to lose, I slyly grabbed my phone, not to call the police, but to record him. If I couldn't escape, I could at least expose him.
Why are you doing this, Alex?
I demanded, hoping to capture his confession. His response was chilling. "Because you're mine, Liz. You just don't know it yet." As he took a step closer, the skies chose that moment to open up, rain pouring down in sheets, a torrential downpour that seemed to mirror the chaos unfolding on my balcony. Using the storm as a cover, I made a split-second decision. I dashed inside, blocking the sliding door behind me. Alex threw himself against the glass, pounding and shouting, his mask now a horrifying visage distorted by rain and rage. I kept the camera trained on him, capturing every psychotic detail as I dialed 911 with shaking hands. Over the roar of the storm and Alex's screams, I screamed my address into the phone, praying help would arrive. And then, as suddenly as he had appeared, Alex retreated into the storm, disappearing into the night from which he had emerged. The police found him an hour later, hiding in the shadows, drenched and defeated. The video of Alex's attack went viral, a shocking glimpse into the reality of online obsession turned violent. His trial was swift, the evidence I'd collected irrefutable. As I watched him being led away in handcuffs, I felt a weight lift off my shoulders, a tentative step towards reclaiming my life from the shadows of fear. In the aftermath, I dedicated myself to speaking out about the dangers of online stalking, using my platform to support others who had endured similar terrors. I had survived Alex's obsession, but the battle against such darkness was far from over. My story had become a beacon, a warning signal in the fight for safety and sanity in the digital age.
Thank you all so much for watching. Link is in the description. Full credit goes to IMR Scary Tales. Go follow them on Instagram, as you can see right there on the bottom. A warning to everyone. Be careful on social media. That goes for YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, Snapchat. Be careful and watch out. Take care of your family. And make sure you don't have your Snapchat address notifications on the map. Keep that turned off as well. Same goes for Facebook and everything. Love you all so much. Thank you all so much for watching. Link is in the description to the channel here. IMR Scary Tales. Full credit goes to them. And maybe I'm going to come back and do more reactions, and it will be of their account. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Good night.